about mindfulness and its capacity for regulating our emotions and building resilience. What is mindfulness? Well, in essence, mindfulness is the ability to focus on our internal state. Okay, just focus on it, not judging it or not reacting to it, just focusing on it and try to understand what it is, okay, or try to feel our emotions. Now, this gives us the capacity for emotional regulations. How? This gap between stimulus and action is very, very critical. Okay, so if there is an emotional response and we act, chances are that it might not be a very efficient reaction. Okay, mindfulness penetrates the middle space. Okay, so there is an impulse, mindfulness, response. Okay, so we have an emotional reaction. We first take a breath, get in touch with it. Okay, and try to understand which emotion is engaged and why it is engaged, and then we decide our response. This is a critical element of emotional regulations and optimal decisions and actions. So mindfulness is very useful in stress management, okay, because when we engage in rumination or anxiety, okay, it increases our stress response. What mindfulness does instead is to focus on the now, the present, okay, rather than the future. Okay, so when we focus on the present, it controls our stress response or lessens our stress response. Okay, mindfulness is known to reduce the stress hormone cortisol in our system. Okay, this is very, very powerful. There are certain areas of the brain which are engaged in this process of mindfulness and stress management. Okay, prefrontal cortex is one of those areas. It is located behind our forehead, and we know it by now that this area is involved in decision making, rationality, planning, all those executive functions that makes us human. Okay, now mindfulness engage a prefrontal cortex, but this is important. Repeated engagement in mindfulness increase the gray matter in our prefrontal cortex. Now, this strengthening or muscling up of the prefrontal cortex has important implications for our emotional regulations because prefrontal cortex communicate bidirectionally with the emotional centers of the brain, particularly the amygdala. Okay, so now this muscled up prefrontal cortex can exert more influence on the emotional, the fear centers of the brain. On top of that, repeated mindfulness, okay, is shown to decrease the gray matter volume in amygdala and also reduces its sensitivity. So now we have a strong prefrontal cortex and a weak amygdala, a perfect recipe for emotional regulation, for stress management and fear control. There are other regions in the brain collectively called the DMN network or the default mode network. Okay. Now, please pay special attention to the word default mode. Basically, what this means is that when we are not engaged in anything, the brain will resort to default mode. And what's that default mode? Thinking about ourselves. Okay. Now, the default mode network is important because it enables us to make sense of the world around us. Okay. It enables us to have a purpose and meaning in life. It's a good thing. It's a good function. Okay. But understand that when we're not doing anything, the brain will resort to thinking about ourselves. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, that means that we will be engaging in rumination and anxieties and those movies that we play in our head about the future. This is not good because this is a continuous stress response. Okay. What mindfulness does is magical. We snap out of the future. Now we are engaged in now. Okay, so this snapping out of the future and engaging in now reduce the activity of the DMN network. Okay, so through this process, we reduce our stress response and reduce our worries and ruminations and anxieties and fears about the future. Now, the next question is how are we going to engage in mindfulness? Okay? There are many religions and systems out there which prescribe their own version of mindfulness. Okay? Basically, the idea is to focus on now. And this is done through rituals and hymns and a lot of other practices. Okay, what we will do is we will engage in some few basic ones. Okay, you can further research and choose your own. Okay, choose your own system or religion or practice, whichever suits you. The basic one is engaging deep breathing. Okay, now we talked about these two subsystems of the autonomic nervous system. Okay, one is the sympathetic nervous system, which engages the stress response. Okay, and the other one is the parasympathetic nervous system, which disengages the stress response and repairs it. Now, the body needs some sort of a massage before it activates the parasympathetic nervous system response. There are a few ways you can deliver that message. One of them is deep breathing. Okay, when there is more oxygen in the system, this activates the parasympathetic nervous system response, which shuts down the sympathetic nervous system response. Okay, so how are you going to do it? Well, it's simple. You can sit down in a lotus position or on a chair, or you can lay down and breathe through your nose. Okay, the way I do it is I extend my hands and I breathe through the nose. Take a long time in and out while I'm only focused on the process, the air that is going through and the air that is going out. Okay, so this is one way of engaging in mindfulness. The second way is to lay down, close your eyes, and feel your toes. Left toe first. And from there, you move upward. Move them, feel them, the temperature, the sensations, everything. Focus on it, okay? And you move up, until you reach your eyes, and then you can blink your eyes and open them. And you repeat. Now, this is called muscle relaxation technique, okay? This is another way of communicating to your sympathetic nervous system that now the stress response is over, the threat is over, the muscles are relaxing. So this will engage the parasympathetic nervous system and the stress response will come down. But understand that these exercises require a certain space and time. Okay, you need to be in a particular place, particular location, and you need to be free to do it. What about mindfulness practices when you are in the office, okay, or when you are on the go? Okay, so the idea is simple. The idea is to get in touch with your physiology of what's going on inside your body. Okay, and you do that by just observing your breathing rate, your heartbeat. Okay, and from there you engage breathing exercise. You don't need to sit in a lotus position or to be in a particular place. All you need to do is just breathe in and breathe out. Okay, and while walking from one office to the other one, you can focus on your footsteps, or you can focus on your surroundings. Okay, that will also lower the stress response. The idea is to be aware of what's going inside you rather than reacting to what's going inside you.